Thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for the meeting of the Fall River Historical Commission. It is Wednesday, January 24th, 2024. It is 6:02 p.m. The commission is meeting virtually via Zoom. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. The meeting is being recorded via Zoom and it will be available through the Fall River Government TV's YouTube page as well. May I get a roll call, please?
Rick
Ashley DeCunha.
Mancini, present.
Here, I'll do it. Here, hold on. I'll do a roll call by name.
Good.
Elizabeth DeBlock,
Present.
Rick Mancini,
Rick Mancini here, present over Zoom.
John Lima,
Present.
Ashley DeCunha,
Present.
thank you, and Jason Bouchard Naraki present via Zoom. I believe Joyce Rodericks should be attending. She is having some technical difficulties. And Connie Sewell is not present. We do not have any open seats. So with that said, we are going to roll right into election of officers for 2024. We do need to vote on a chairperson, a vice chair, and a secretary.
I recommend Jason Bouchard Naraki as chairperson of the Historic Commission. We need a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, and I do accept. Oops, sorry, just jotting down. Thank you. I do accept. Thank you. So, Rick, do we normally do this as a roll call for each one? Oh,
I
there's Joyce.
would, yes.
Okay. All right. Let's just make sure that Joyce can hear us. Joyce, can you hear us? Joyce?
Put your sign up.
I know. This is gonna be a problem if we can't have her hearing what we're doing and the ability to take a vote. Hold on, let me see if I can get. I do apologize. This is a little embarrassing. I don't think she can hear us. I don't know what the precedence of this is. If she can't hear us, she can't participate.
Is the chat box or the chat dialogue recorded as part of the recording of the meeting? Could she respond via text?
But
I'm
she's
not
not.
sure she
Yeah, I don't
in
think
that
so.
chat.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think she can hear us at all. So
No, she can't hear us at all.
Do you still have that sign available?
I don't think she's gonna see it though. That's just it.
What happens?
Yeah, I can try and see and hope to God that she can see this. Because we cannot hear her.
No?
Uh,
Are we a quorum without her or no?
we are a quorum without her.
Okay. So maybe we just move forward as it is what it is.
Yeah.
She's not answering her phone, correct?
No, she's not. Okay, we cannot hear. Okay. let's see if she can. This is,
She just responded no.
I know, at least she can see that. Let me see if I can get her to dial in on her phone.
Yeah.
And she can go on her phone.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'll be a good idea.
Oh, the things we do. All right. All right.
You might want to give her, Jason, the call-in number, which I actually have it up if you want me to read it off to you.
That would be great.
Sure. It's 1-646 931 3860.
3860.
And I'm going to imagine she's going to need the meeting ID, maybe. I don't know.
Mhm.
The meeting ID is 821-7719-7548.
7719.
7548.
She sees that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if this works. She's looking up. I'm hoping that she is writing this information down. The other option is, can we?
Well, we are a quorum.
We are a
so-
quorum. Is
Yeah,
there-
we have technical difficulties, so when we just not, I would just announce that we're not getting a response from Joyce due to technical difficulties.
Right. I'm wondering if.
Still have a quorum.
So I'm wondering if. Hold on. Let me just double check. Hey, Alex. Have you experienced this before where we've had where there's been members who have dropped off because of technical difficulties? Okay. All right. Just so I can run the meeting, if somebody can try calling Joyce, I could give you her number. And
I'm
see.
actually using my phone for Zoom,
Okay.
so somebody else will have to do it.
Yeah, I can try calling her. I don't know if she'll pick up though, because she won't recognize.
I'm
Either
not
way,
sure.
if you're busy taking notes, Elizabeth, I can call. It's up to you.
Here, Rick, I'm gonna text it to you. So I don't want to announce that over Zoom, so there you go. All right, I just sent it to you in a text.
All right, I'll get right on it.
Okay. In the meantime, let's see if we can pick up the pieces on this one. All right, so previously we had a motion by Rick and a second by John to nominate myself for chair. May I get a roll call? Elizabeth?
Yes, sorry.
That's right. Rick,
Yes,
John,
Yes.
and Ashley?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and I do accept that. Thank you. We need to vote for a vice chair.
I'll nominate Rick.
I'll second that.
All right. I have a motion by Elizabeth and a second by Ashley to vote for to nominate Rick for vice chair.
we cannot.
Roll
Sean.
call vote, please. We have Elizabeth,
Yes.
Rick.
All right, listen, when we take a vote, I'll give you
All
a
right, let's
say.
just pause this.
that
For a
it's-
moment.
And you can,
Is that a house phone?
all right,
I was
listen.
just thinking the same thing.
My phone
Yeah.
up against the speaker, so you'll be able to hear us,
Do we,
okay? All right, here it is.
can you put, oh, okay.
Okay,
How is she-
I've got her on the landline now.
Is she on speaker?
Well, she's gonna have to go through my landline. Yes. She's
Okay.
not calling, she's on my phone, so my phone is near the speaker, so we'll be able to hear her. Can you hear us okay, Joyce?
Oh, okay. If she can do that, then,
Hear us?
oh, okay, this is a problem.
It is.
Yep,
You hear that, Joyce?
Rick, here's my proposal. Can she, if she can't join on the meeting, because this, we can't do the meeting this way. If she can't join in on the meeting, we do have a quorum. If she wants to sit this one out, we can
Okay.
do that.
Or
Do
Rick,
you want me to try and put her on my cell phone? That's on speaker?
or Rick, since you're on the phone with her, could you give her the phone number for the Zoom meeting and have her call that?
Yeah, I'm on speakerphone now, Jonathan.
No.
This phone is on speaker, but she can't hear it.
Could
All right,
you,
I'll
Could you
inform
give her
I'll be
the-
right back. I'll just inform her.
Yeah, this is,
Joyce? All right, we're having difficulties. It's not gonna work well. We have a quorum, so if you wanna just sign out and just sit this one out.
yeah, I mean, honestly, that would be the easiest solution at this point, just because of the technical difficulties. I mean, I can, unless somebody wants to get Joyce in on speaker on the cell phone.
Okay, we're back. She's going to keep trying, but she's gonna sign out for now.
Okay. All right. If that's the case, I just
No
don't.
issue with her staying on visually.
Yeah, the thing is, if she's on visually, that's she's present, but she can't vote. So is there a way we can remove her off of the Zoom?
I don't know. You could check with Alex.
I think Alex has to remove her.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that has that been done, Alex?
oh, she just left the meeting
I
anyway.
just left the meeting. Okay, so let's try this again. I do apologize. My goodness. All right, so we are voting for a vice chair. We have a motion by Elizabeth. We have a second by Ashley to nominate Rick for vice chair. May I get a roll call vote? Elizabeth,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
and Jason Bouchard Naraki, yes. Thank you. And we do need to nominate a secretary. I would like to nominate Elizabeth.
I
I'll
will second that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Ashley will second. Okay. All right. We have a motion by myself, Jason Bouchard Naraki, and a second by Ashley to nominate Elizabeth for secretary. Make it a roll call. Elizabeth,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
and Jason Bouchard Naraki, yes. Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I accept.
Excellent, thank you. Oh, Rick, you accept too, right?
I did. I did. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Easy enough. Okay, item number 1, we have the minutes that Elizabeth distributed to everyone from our December 19th meeting. Does anyone have any questions on that? No? Okay.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Rick, all right, motion by Ashley, second by Rick for the minutes. Roll call, Elizabeth,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
and Jason Bouchard Naraki, yes. Thank you. All right. Do we have any citizens input? All right. I did receive one notice of intent to demolish 631 Airport Road. It is a wind turbine. It's not listed on the registry, but just for our protocol, anything that has a demo permit has to go before us. It's a very large turbine, but as I told Carrie, it is not listed on the registry. So we have nothing under correspondences. Under new business, we have Michael LaFlash present, I believe, from Heritage Consulting Group. He's requesting continued letters of support for tax credit applications. This is for the Wyoming Mills at 110 Chase Street, Flip Mills, 135 Alden Street, and the Durfee Block at 80 to 84 North Main Street.
Thank you, Jason. Should I jump in there? So,
Yes. If you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself and stating your name and the company that you're from, please.
Michael LaFlash with Heritage Consulting Group. On behalf of both all three of the Wyoming Mills, Flint Mills, and Durfee Block projects. We appreciate your continued support, and there's no alterations or changes to the scope of work at this time. We actually just received our MHC letters just this week, so we've got some work ahead of us, but at this time, nothing new proposed.
Okay, excellent. Has there been any work so far in terms of, I know the Wyoming Mills had a bit of demolition that was to occur. Has that started?
No work has started anywhere yet. I will say, as of yesterday, the roof at the Durfee Block has some partial collapse to it. So there will be some roof repair that needs to happen in the not so distant future, but we as a team haven't yet figured out that final solution. So it's time sensitive, but just roof repair at that point.
Right. Okay. So I'm not sure, John and Ashley, were you on the, did you come onto the board when we reviewed these projects?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So the Wyoming, Mike, if you wouldn't mind just bringing Ashley and John up to speed real quick on the three properties.
Sure. Yeah, Wyoming Mills over at Chase Street off of Chase and Globe Street. That's three different buildings are considered to be the true historic buildings in the complex. They're all currently interconnected by a bunch of 1970s and later era appendages. So it reads as kind of one massive complex right now. As part of the project, the team is proposing to install apartments and residential amenities within the three main buildings, 2 brick mills, and then a smaller granite mill. The appendages will be kind of mostly demolished. Some of them will remain and serve as amenity space with the potential for some commercial, but those plans haven't progressed as far as the residential components have yet. That's Alden. That's Chase. At Alden, the former Flint Mills, it's a grouping of 5 mill buildings, all granite. Quite remarkable, actually. They kind of read as one large horseshoe shape with an additional admin building kind of sitting off on its own. That too will become apartments with, again, residential amenities, a pool located at center in the courtyard, some restaurant spaces potentially in the future, things along those lines. Both obviously going for historic tax credits. We'll see, complete window replacements, cleaning of the exteriors, and kind of as much retention of historic features as possible at the interior as the apartments come into play. Both of them are actually the same ownership group as well. So it's a pretty exciting time for that company. The third being Durfee Block right downtown. That's a former bank building, constructed in a couple of different phases actually between the late 1800s and 1927 or so, I want to say. That building, 3 stories, apartment units going in on all floors there. A little more standard approach with that one.
Excellent. Thank you.
Are these all market rate?
Yes, there will be some affordable housing, but it's not going to be primarily affordable. So if I don't quote me on the number, but if it is, it's going to be in that kind of 10% range based off of the amount of units, I believe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions for Mr. LaFlash? Okay.
Not at this time. There's no ongoing progress, so I have no questions.
All right. So these are for continued letters of support. So and also Michael, just I know I think I've mentioned in email. So whenever the filing deadlines are, in January, is it January, April, and August, I believe. So we do ask for any letters of support, whether it's for tax credits or CPC funding, that sort of a thing. They even if it's continued, just to meet with us prior to that, so we can, if there's any questions we have, if there's any changes, so just so everyone's up to speed on that. So with that said, so
I'll make a motion that we get letters out on those 3 prospective buildings, properties,
okay.
letters of acceptance.
Great, thank you.
I'll second the motion.
All right. Motion by Rick and a second by Elizabeth for the 3 letters of support. May I get a roll call, please? Elizabeth?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Ashley? John?
Yes.
And Jason Bouchard-Naraki, yes. All right, Michael, I will have those over to you as soon as possible because I know you're waiting on those. So I will get those out to you and that should be good.
Thank you all, and looking forward to coming back in a couple of months.
Likewise, thank you so much. All right, so item number 4 under new business, this Fall River e-permits. This was actually brought up by Ashley regarding the new permitting process with the building department. Ashley, can you go over that, please?
So I went through the building permit application process that went live late last year. And when you plug in an address for a building permit, there's nothing indicating for you to select whether it's a historic property or not, and nothing auto-populates. I don't know if that's something we can integrate into the system that identifies it as a historic property. But again, there's nothing throughout. I went through the whole process and there are a total of 7 steps. And at no point does it reference any historical buildings. I was looking recently, and I apologize, I forget the city or town I was looking at. I think it might have been Bristol, Rhode Island. And in their building permit application, one of the first questions is this on the register? So I think it's something we should implement somehow. It doesn't exist now. That's all I've got.
Thank you. And so I did have a phone call from someone. This is right almost when I believe the system went live. From somebody from City Hall. I think it was Frank in the building department. Don't quote me. But he was trying to verify an address because it came across and there was no flagging on that. He thought it was just because it was brand new. I think it had just launched maybe like a day or 2 prior. And I just had to confirm with him that the property was not historic or so forth. But so Rick and I are actually meeting with the mayor on Friday to discuss a couple things, one of which is a check-in. And if I remember right, I believe the city administrator, Seth Aitken, had mentioned that there's a way of programming something within their database that will flag properties as being historic. The issue is that we have properties that are in the 40C. Those have a high level for verification, because any change to the exterior for the most any structural change to the exterior comes before us. But then with with everything else on the city registry, that's different. And then really the only I guess the only restrictions on that are demolition, in part or in whole. I think we have a decent system with that so far. I mean, it's pretty manual. Carrie calls over, and I just verify the address with her.
Okay.
So I will bring that up. We'll bring that up with the mayor on Friday to see, because that I can see that being a problem, especially in the 40C. Should somebody go get a building permit and you say, like, they're putting in new windows or something. So yeah, because right now I think if it's not showing up, then they must be manually checking addresses, which kind of defeats the purpose of being all
Right.
online. So
Oh,
okay.
I have a question about that. So Ashley, you're talking about Bristol has a field where the person who's applying would manually check it off and say, yes, my property is historic. So
Correct.
that's kind of an honor system, right? The town would still have
Right.
to go and check that on the back end. And
Correct. I almost think it's probably a better option to somehow upload some sort of data that puts all the addresses. So once you put it in, it automatically shoots something out like, oh, this is historic. Great. So
When you're going through that process, Ashley, did you see anything regarding zoning?
I don't recall. The first step is your contact information. Then we've got location of the building. When you put in the address, it does pull up the information from the property cards.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yes. So
Okay.
that wasn't a thought that I had with regard to the 40C. So I think Providence does this, and maybe even Newport. They treat their historic districts, their local districts, as an overlay zone, and therefore it's a separate. Like, for example, if you are in in Fall River, you have a house that's in the G district, the general residential. There's a separate zoning code that lists that it's in a historic district, and that hopefully should prompt a flag that the necessary committees that oversee that get notified.
Right. The
So,
zoning, there is in the property data, there is a zoning section here. I actually did it with my address.
Hmm.
And my zoning is blank.
Okay.
So I don't really know what that means, but
So Rick, we'll bring that up when we meet on Friday. I honestly think that would make a lot of sense, just having the 40C as an overlay zone, because then that will hopefully put the flag up with any type of zoning restrictions and building help their online permitting. Does that make any sense?
No, I hear you. Yes. And we could probably sit with their computer person and find an easy method, something that's convenient for the building department as well. That's important piece.
Yeah. And it's just addresses, so that's easy. we can supply that. And if we go to expand the district, then that's we just upload some more addresses to the database. So okay. Ashley, thank you very much for looking into that and letting us know.
not a problem.
Was there any?
It would also work in zoning some of the other areas, some of the mill complexes and things of that nature. So again, speaking with their building department and getting a lot of that input, to just get a system that'll work for them well. Also, it's because it's a broader base than just the 40C.
Right. Yeah, I think so. My immediate concern is the 40C, just because of the regulations that are there. But yeah. Okay. Any other questions for Ashley on that, or comments regarding that topic?
Good job, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So item number 5, we have to submit a 2023 annual report. I don't know if the former chair filed anything after 2019. I did not see it online. It is possible that she did file. It just never was updated or at least uploaded to the city's website. But if we are going for certified local government status, we do need to submit an annual report. So online was 2019. That was the most recent one. And it's fairly straightforward. It has your mission statement. Basically, it just goes over, we don't have a budget for one. We don't really have anything in the budget. We do need to mention any permits that not permits, any demolition delay waivers that we have issued, letters of support. So those are things that we just have to record. And let's see. If there's been any outreach. We haven't had really any outreach in the last year, but I'm hoping that we can change that soon. And then any updates to this registry of significant structures. So we have had a lot of letters of support for a number of projects, so that's a little lengthy. We've also had we've had a handful of demolition delay waivers, I think, that we've issued. So I guess what I might do is I'll start putting this together. And let's see. Is there actually, I will need assistance with this. Can I ask for maybe one person, one or two people maybe, that can help with organizing this and getting it put together so we can submit it?
Yeah, I can help.
I can help.
Okay, excellent. Great. Thank you. So it's like I
I'm
said,
there also if you need any
Sounds good.
support. help.
thank you.
If you
So
want-
it's only 9, the one from 2019 at least is only 9 pages or 8 pages. So it shouldn't really be too much. It's just a matter of going back through all the different agendas. I do have copies of every letter of support that I've submitted and things like that. So I can probably go through that with the dates and so forth. Everything's dated.
Do you think it's necessary to list every one of those items or just a general statement that approximately X amount were issued? Because we do have the minutes of the meetings if someone wants to dwell into that a little more deeply. And do you think that you would want to put all of those letters of support or anything else?
I think, well, we just have to list them, and I think what we could do is like a table that just says if it was an initial letter, especially for tax credits, because we get multiple projects or the same project multiple times. So we can list if it was a initial letter or if it's a continued letter, and we could just do like a grid box, I think. And then same thing for CPC. Those are usually one and done, though. The CPC letters are once. So we don't have that way we don't have to keep on typing out, we've approved this building's letter 5 times already. So we could
I
probably
think if we just list it, if we have the information, it's pretty simple. So
yeah.
The
Okay.
CPC letter is written, but if you try and go back, you do approximately a dozen of those CPC letters a year, and that's a good year.
Right.
So you might. I'm just questioning as to whether we want to list every one of the CPC letters or just make a general blanket statement in the annual report that there were approximately 12 CPC letters written. End of story. People want to know exactly 2 or what, they can go back to the CPC or get it from our minutes. I would think.
Um, yeah, if
The,
that's
the 2019 form that you had sent out,
Mhm.
is that a mandatory format, or one category that comes to mind is, if I recall correctly, there was a section for fundraising, right? I don't believe we have any plans for fundraising. That could just be omitted from the format, I would assume.
correct. Yeah, it's yeah, because when we had our former chair, we used to have a line on the agenda that, and it never changed. It was regarding our operating account. We don't have an operating account. So this we can omit that. So from my understanding, like it's basically anything that we had done. I think they might want to see if we've tried fundraising, but we don't. We can just probably put it in as a line in like our summary for the year, I guess. Um, but yeah, no, it's pretty. This is not a template, I guess. Um, so great. Okay. I will check with Allison to see when these are due, but once I have that, then we'll get the ball rolling on that. So it really should not be that much. Did any questions on it whatsoever or no? Okay. Thank you. So under old business, item number 6, so the Bank Street Armory opinion letter, that was finally submitted over to City Council. I actually sent it over yesterday. There was a very long delay in getting that done. But I was also waiting to hear from regarding when it was going to be brought up, because the City Council, it was tabled and had not been lifted. So I sent it over yesterday. City Councilor Linda Pereira had called me up and said that that they received it. However, it wouldn't be read for 2 weeks because they had a meeting yesterday, which I was not aware of. So at last night's City Council meeting, the mentioning of the letter, there was the mentioning of the letter uh, um, to the City Council because the item was lifted. And I don't, it was just a matter of who was going to lift it. I believe it was Councilor Dion who had lifted the item. But anyways, so at the end of the day, the motion to sell the armory failed. So I don't know what that means. I believe it bounces back to the real estate committee, I believe, and the mayor. But there were some options that Councilor Pereira was putting out, one of which was that the responsibility of the building currently is in the Parks Department. And one of the things that she had suggested to the council last night was that the building should get transferred to the responsibility of our commission, so that way we can raise the necessary grant funds from the states and do whatever necessary work needs to get done, like a feasibility study and so forth. I don't know what the possibility of that is, so we're kind of like in uncharted territory right now, so we will find that out. But like I said, Rick and I have a meeting with the mayor on Friday, so I'm sure that will be brought up for the topic of conversation. So with that said, so that was sent over. I believe it will be read at their meeting in 2 weeks. And I'll email it around. I think Elizabeth and maybe Rick has seen it. But I'll email it around. And then regarding item 7, certified local government applications. So I sent over the final draft to Jennifer Doherty. She's with the State Commission. So now it comes down, she's reviewing and just making sure that everything is there. I have everyone's bios and resumes. Thank you. I also included Carrie Ayashes from licensing because she's the clerk for our commission, or the staff person. They did require that. The ordinance is included. There's a statement that I had to type up, basically what we're doing and how these funds will assist us. So everything was submitted, or at least the draft. It just needs the signature of the mayor. So that's one of the primary reasons why Rick and I are meeting with the mayor on Friday. Jennifer Doherty will be from the state commission will be there via conference phone call, just to answer any questions. And I believe there's the mayor may have some other people there to basically just get an understanding of the program. But as I've mentioned to them, this will be very helpful for things like the Armory, for studies on any historic building in the city, for feasibility studies, structural assessments. If we want to explore expanding National Register districts, a lot of those grant funds can go for studies, for to pay for like the surveys, the Form Bs, that sort of thing. Then those are expensive. So let's see what happens on Friday. So that's the update on that. And next is 8, the Highlands Local Historic District expansion. Did you happen to receive the maps that I sent over? Okay. So I do have the website pulled up. And we could, was it easy to read at least? Were you able to zoom in and see streets and addresses? I wasn't sure how that would appear, but let's see. Alex, can I do a screen share? Or yeah.
I don't know about anyone else, but to me, zooming in streets, addresses, to me, not a problem. Following the color coding was challenging for me.
Okay.
I agree, Jonathan. The colors were
It looked like
difficult.
colors were overlaid over each other, and so they kind of made, I don't know
A
what
different
aggregate
color.
colors, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I tried changing the colors on the map and it was not working for me. So, but there is, if I, hold on, let me see. I do have the website pulled up. Alex, can you share the screen, please? Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Forgive me, where am I looking? Sorry. I'm not seeing. Oh my God, right there. Jesus. Okay. All right. Can everyone see this?
There we go. We got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I did change. I know the coloring is awful, but so I did change the layer. This is on Mass Mapper through the state's GIS database. I did change the map so it has the aerial image. I don't know if that's helpful. We could change the opacity of the coloring if that helps a little bit. I tried doing the custom color. Unfortunately, it just made it even worse. So, but anyways, so let me see if I can just increase this just a little bit. All right. So in the blue is the current 40C, to give you an idea. And then all these these are the addresses. So that's the general 40C right here. Now this foggy pink area over here, this is the Highlands National Register district. It does include North Park. It goes up Highland all the way up to I think that's Stanley. So it does, I mean, safe to say, if we were, depending on how far we wanted to do a target area, I would recommend staying within the NRHP district. So my opinion is one that we should, it would be great if we can go so we have a part of French Street over here. I think we should move outward towards Highland Avenue. We can use the hospital as a boundary line. And typically the state would really not want a boundary line to run down the middle of the street. They have made a lot of exceptions on that, and we could use the case that the hospital is a major boundary line. There are some houses across the way over here on the corner. This is Highland Avenue and Prospect Street. 229 Highland, 360 Prospect. These are part of the National Register District. So I do know, for example, 229 Highland, I believe that one, the hospital's in the process of purchasing. So that will be before us, I'm sure, soon. But if we push the boundary line east, I think we can make the safe bet of using Highland Avenue as a boundary, and maybe include along these Olmsted triangular parks. And then we also have to the south, we have the Temple Beth El, which has been in the news lately because of their possible sale of the building. Oh, Rick, just to answer your question, so the Old Durfee High School is in the Highlands, and just south of the Old Durfee, that's the Lower Highlands National Register District. So that's a separate area. So it all depends where we want to, where we should focus. We have the Historical Society here on the corner of Rock and Maple. That's right here. So, and I believe it goes down to the Westall School, or I guess it's called the Stone School on Maple Street. But there are some high-level houses here in, Belmont Street with excellent architectural characteristics. French Street, we have Maplecroft over here. And so this is all for consideration. We have this stretch of Highland Avenue too, that I like to refer to this as an at-risk neighborhood because of the scale of the houses. There's no protections on them. One of which being Rising Sun, very significant Japanese revival exotic architecture. And there's no design restrictions on it. And we have other properties too. We have the Stone House on Highland Avenue, the Nathan Durfee House. This neighborhood did lose a historic structure at 547 Highland a number of years ago by demolition. And that's one thing that we would have control over in the local historic district is a what do you call it? The ability to deny a demolition permit if it's in the 40C. We don't have that if it's not. We only have a 6-month demo delay if it's just on the National Register. And there's some significant houses over here too. The Catholic Diocese, Underwood Street. So with that said, I'll turn it over to everyone. How far out do you think we should look? And so that way we can put together a list of addresses and we can get these letters out.
I think we should start with maybe that section where you're at now out to Highland Ave.
Okay.
And that's like French Street over.
Okay.
I think maybe if we do a smaller, instead of extending all the way up Highland Ave at this point, kind of see what the feedback is that we're getting from residents.
That makes sense. We could also down the line, depending on how this one goes, we could look at doing a separate LHD on the northern part of the National Register District. So that's something we can do. And also too, just before I forget, just so you can see, so this is the NRHP district here, but all these pink dots, these are just property parcels. There is nothing listed ever here on the National Register. We have so this is something, if we do achieve CLG status, I would love to have the north end surveyed and inventoried, because there's a lot of good examples of mid-century modern shingle style Queen Anne that is up there with nothing's been documented. So jumping back over here, no, I do agree. So if we did French Street, French Street running up to Highland, would you want to go up Underwood, or would you prefer just to stay out to the intersection of what is this, French, Highland, Underwood, and then run down?
Yeah,
Okay. And then
That's my
how far down?
to the end of the existing 40C. I don't know what street that is.
So it
Put
runs,
you down to Maple, which I
Maple Street.
concur.
yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
So
Well,
here's
if you
the
want
40.
to include the Triangle Park, though, we could go another block beyond that.
We could, so yeah, go down. I think
Down
just so we
Walnut.
don't form a corner, we could probably go as far down to, well, yeah, I think if we do, let's see. So I'm just looking at some of the properties here. So this is the school department. They're receiving CPC funding. Historical Society has definitely received CPC funding, so that would be in their benefit. Oh, and here's Christ the Rock Church. They have also received or will be receiving CPC funding. So we could go push it down to Walnut Street.
Walnut, yes.
Okay. So I don't want to form a corner. So if we extend it down, so it would include, should we mark down the addresses?
Yeah, sure, I can write them down.
All right. So if we do, so this part's a little weird. So this lot was subdivided. It was part of
Oh,
570.
yeah.
Yeah, so, but this lot, so is merged. So this is, so 490, what is that? 492 Rock? Yeah. 492 Rock. This is on the, this is individually on the National Register. This is 456 Rock. We can do 414 Rock. And then, so we can't run it down the line. So it would have to go from, the border would have to do something like this if we stop at Walnut. So what is that, 388 Rock? And then across the street, 389 Rock. And then we would have to include this here, this the Greek Revival House. What is that? 386 High.
That's they're doing great.
What's that?
What's the law office?
Correct. The Greek Revival. I think it's the
Yep.
Jefferson
Yeah.
Wooden House. This one this is a
The
one.
pediatrician.
Yeah, this is one big lot. I mean, so the other thing too, if they're in the national register district as non-contributing, they are listed as contributing in the LHD.
Okay.
Or they have similar design, I guess, similar design regulations. So 387 High. Do we want to go out towards, what is this, Winter, or no? Or should we just do it one block, one house lot in?
No. There are definitely some significant houses over there. But to Ashley's point, if you want to keep it more limited, just kind of as a trial run, that
Okay.
we would just keep it to that.
Sure.
Borders Highland Ave.
This building 472 Walnut, that's
Oh, that's the office rehab, right?
Civitech Architect.
Yeah.
So And that architecturally very significant
Yeah.
well. So why don't we just do 387, keep it buttoned up to Highland Ave
Mhm.
as a trial run, and we can also look at exploring adding as we go along. So that's 413 High. Then we have 19 Highland. 417 Rock. 430 High. 451 Rock.
Wait, can I interrupt you?
Tell you what, why don't
Okay,
we do this?
Yeah,
If we
if we want to include the Triangle Park, then it would be the other.
Yeah, so if we do, 'cause the 40C is right over here. So why don't we do this? Instead of listing out the addresses, I can draw up a map and I can just get the addresses over. We can do that instead. So if we just figure out what the boundary line is, if we decide to just do one house lot in from the street, we can just do that, and that should be fairly easy. I just need to know where the boundary lines are. So if we do, are we going to do one house lot in?
Well, if we stop, if we do that, that's fine. If we go further to the east, then we should get both sides of Winter Street and just put it all in the
Okay.
present Lower Highlands area. So we should make a decision as to whether we want to pick up. If you look at the boundary lines, you'll notice Winter Street. It's
Yep.
on both sides, the Highland District.
Mm.
So if we want to cut that back to Highland Avenue and just use the property that's running north on Highland Avenue, that's fine. But if we start to encroach a little bit eastward, then we should get right on both sides of Winter Street and get it done with, I would
All
think.
right. So this is Walnut Street. So let's use Walnut Street as the preliminary boundary line of the expansion area. And so we're going to do one block in from on the westerly side of Rock to one block in from the southerly part of Walnut Street, running to one block in or one house lot in of the easterly side of Winter Street. So that will go up the existing border of the NRHP district. And then we can just do that. We can just run that border all the way up. So we're going up Winter where it meets with Highland, each one house lot in.
Yeah.
And we can include these three that are here. I will say I might just for our own sanity, I would recommend omitting 229 Highland because that we know will be coming up before us.
I agree.
Yeah. But the one on the
We've
corner,
given them a waiver for demolition on that property.
yeah, we can do that too. I just see that we will probably get opposition from the hospital though. I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
360 Prospect is owned by the hospital, but that's they just renovated it. I can't imagine that they would want to take that one down soon, but it is also a good quality colonial revival too. So but yeah, so anyways, if we run the border up that way and just do 360, omit 229, and then run the boundary line up to French, and we can include 344 French, and then just stop it there unless, and then just do one, these houses here on the northerly side of French, one house lot in, and then it'll meet up with the existing 40C.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, is it greedy for me to want to do one more block and then that would also incorporate the Catholic diocese?
So do you want to, okay. Oh, go up northern. So do you want to go
Or
up
is that
to,
too much?
what is that? Lincoln. So we would do one house lot in, so that's the border right here anyways. So up to, that's Lincoln. So yeah, we could run the border up Rock to Lincoln and then up to the northerly border over here. And then up to Highland. if we go over to here though, I would recommend, if we're going to do Highland Ave, I would recommend including the old
Christian Day School.
yeah, the school that's here. Don't include these, and we would run the line across Highland to include the Nathan Durfee house, the big stone house,
Yeah,
and then down to there. Does that make sense? Because I if we go further up on the avenue, that's going to be a whole other. I feel like that's more houses to bigger houses too. But I mean, we could if we want to go up to the park, we can do that. But
I think we should start with that for now.
all right, so do you want to just leave it running from the old school to the stone house and leave that as the border and just include these?
Fine with me.
Okay. All right, so that's easy enough. We can get a list of the addresses, and I don't know if we necessarily have to have them addressed to the home, to the, have them customized so it's to the property owner. It could just simply be addressed as the property owner, or just, it doesn't have to have names. And that's easy. I can get the list compiled, and then we can have, I can ask Carrie to get the letters out once we have the addresses.
just for my notes, what was the western border again?
The westerly, well, so up in here, the westerly, the northern edge would be, over here would be 161 Underwood, 4, can't even see what that says, 484 Highland, and then 503 Highland.
No, I mean in general, like
Oh,
for the
sorry.
whole
Oh, I'm sorry.
proposed district.
It would be Highland Ave and then Winter Street. So
No, for
Highland
the
Ave.
west side.
Oh, I'm sorry. My God, I cannot. Rock
That's
Street.
okay.
Rock Street's the west,
Oh, okay.
which is over here.
Perfect. So
Okay.
that's the existing border for the 40C.
Yeah, well, is that, yeah, I think technically June Street is the border, but let's just start with Rock. I don't know if I
Okay.
want to go, yeah, I don't think we should go out that too far. Depending if there's enough appetite for this, then we could look at going more west.
Mhm.
I mean, it is big, which is the expansion is big, and that's fine because if we need to cut back on it, we can cut back on it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It's
Yeah.
better to start a little bit bigger. We can just narrow it down.
Okay. Cool. Are any concerns on those questions or anything?
The advantage that we have here is that you don't need 100% buy-in.
Nope.
So that and most or many of these homes, I think you're going to find that they're going to, sort of look forward to get the home on some sort of a listing, because our 40C district is not very difficult, and it does raise the valuation of the properties.
And we have there will be a series of public meetings. So this is something that it's not, they're not going to get a letter in the mail. Hey, surprise, you're in the protected district. So we don't have to have every homeowner. But I believe the only thing we need is a 2/3 council vote for it to pass. So yeah. The next step is to get the letter. We'll compile the list of addresses. And then we will send that over to Carrie with the letter. I think that should be it. That's the first step.
And if there's a need to chase down homeowners, I could take that list and sit in the tax office and get the factual homeowners.
Okay.
We have a lot of
Hopefully.
absentee landlords.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if we could, Rick, actually, once we get the list, if you wouldn't mind, if that's something that you can do, once we get the list, can you bring that list over to the tax assessor's office and they can provide the mailing addresses for each?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
Great. Cool. Great. I think that anything else on that before we move on? All right. This is one of the advantages of
There's a lot of work cut out for us this year. It's
There's a
going to
lot.
be a busy
Yeah.
24.
Yeah. And the inventories too. I'm happy to help with that. If we're able to apply for any funding on that, great. But once we have a more defined area, then we'll have to work on the inventories. Some of them have already been done, but they haven't been updated, so there's just some fine tuning on that. Yeah, this is going to be exciting.
And I'm happy to help with inventory forms. It's been a while since I've done one, but that used to be my job. So
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, depending on how big it is, we could probably just do this in-house. So, and if we need any additional assistance too, we might be able to ask, possibly, help from the Preservation Society, maybe. We'll see.
I feel like all that information should be on Patriot Properties.
So the inventory forms will be, we have to list the homeowner and so forth, but then we have to, there's things like that the MHC will want, like they need to know when the house was built, if there's an architect, the style, the condition, if there's any exterior
like a general architectural description, just so if things are changed, there's a record of like the character features.
Yeah.
Back in 83, back in 1983, many of these homes were put on the National Historic Register. And so there is, of course, it would have to be updated, but there is some data available. So it's not as if we're going in cold turkey on many of these properties.
Right. These have already been surveyed. So, some of them will have changed for sure. Yeah. And some of the information though, that went from the 80s, it was not as detailed as
correct
requirements that MHC has now.
Right.
They're a lot more detail focused. So, okay. All right. So with that said, let's move on. Regarding item 9, just an update on the open meeting law violations. So on the 29th of December, everything was submitted over to the state, also to Mr. McAmer. Let me just stop sharing the screen. 1 second. There we go. So everything was shared with Mr. McAmer. And then the State's Attorney General office. So that is all set. He did drop he was satisfied with the response. And I believe it is closed on that. So that's fine. But I think that is it. Do I have anything else before we adjourn? Anything else? Okay. All right, excellent. So it is 7:10 p.m. May I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn for the evening.
I would second that.
Ashley, all right. Thank you very much. So a motion by Rick, second by Ashley. Roll call vote to adjourn, please. Elizabeth?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And Joyce, can you hear us? Can you give us a thumbs up if you vote yes to adjourn? Thank you. Excellent. And Jason Bouchard Naraki, yes. Thank you very much, everyone. Alex, thank you very much for your help.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.